Mr. Halloween Spirit himself. He's telling everybody to embrace Spooktober. Pro Bowl left tackle for the Tennessee Titans and co-host of Bussin' with the Boys. Have you ever gotten a facial or had a chemical peel, Taylor Lewan?
Yes, I have. I absolutely have. I never did that until I met my wife, and then I've been to a couple of spas.
Yeah.
Got the face done all right and stuff like that. Your wife talks about your pores so many times. You got to do something about it. So I feel proud. I feel proud to have a nice regimen now.
Is your wife one of those people who likes to just try things out on you? She puts sheet masks on you. She popping zits for you, or she lets get that taken care of professionally?
She's all about that. I was in Canada last year, and she put this cream on my face. It hardens, and then 20 minutes later you peel it off. Well, I had it all over my face, and I took a selfie of it and posted it on the internet. It was not well received on the internet. It was not. That was definitely it was called beta. But you know what? My skin loves me for it. I'm going to keep moving forward.
I think you look great. I think your house looks great. We've never gotten this shot here. Now, I see a couple skeletons. It looks very spooky in there at the Lewan residence.
Yeah, that's right. We made a little pivot today. I had some parent-teacher conferences with the kids. So ran back here, got here just in time, put the old skeletons in the back. My wife, she's got this little nice ring that puts a light on your face. And I was like, yeah, let me rip it, dude. I'm a fan of it. Could use a tan, but hey, we're going to be all right.
You at a parent-teacher conference brings joy to my heart.
Oh, yeah. Dude, it's cool, too. The teachers are, my wife's so much better of a parent than me, but I sit there and I'm like, hey, she's awesome, isn't she? They're like, yeah, she's great. But the good news is they have my wife's intelligence. They are doing very well in school. Me, I don't think I could read till I was 9 years old. I can still barely read now.
I just feel like this needs to be a movie. This is a comedy. Let's get Will Ferrell, Paul Rudd, the whole gang together. You as a dad at a parent-teacher conference makes my life. I love it. Listen, I know that
I'm telling you, we start soccer on Tuesday, tomorrow. We start soccer tomorrow. So I'm about to be that dad. But let's get into football. That's not why I'm here.
A whistle. I mean, we could do whatever we want. That's why you're here to just hang out and have a good time here after week 7. I mean, it's still going on. But let's, I'm not a huge college football fan, as you know, but I hear your Wolverines were in the headlines. They got a win over Michigan State. But what's going on with the Michigan rank something on your, what's going on?
Michigan's ranked number 2 in the college football realm. They should be number 1. Georgia, they lost Brock Bowers, so they're probably going to lose 1 or 2. There's a lot of information coming about Michigan right now. Oh, they're cheating, they're scouting, they're sending players. It doesn't make any sense, Kay, because I'm pretty sure in the NFL, they send guys everywhere to different stadiums, scout, look for this, look for that, any of that 1%. So Michigan's under an investigation right now. They're just trying to punch up. People just trying to punch up at the best university of all time. As far as Michigan State goes, people are going to watch this that are Michigan State fans. They're going to be like, well, Taylor, you were 1-3 when you were at Michigan. When I was at Michigan, we sucked. We were terrible, but now we're great. And so now as an alum, I get to sit on my couch and just basically tweet into the abyss saying how we're better than everybody. And then people get mad. It's a beautiful time.
It's a beautiful time to be live here in October. Let's talk about last night's game, right? Everyone was, this was the billing of Super Bowl preview, and it's going to be shot for shot. And really, the Eagles kept the Dolphins from doing anything that they wanted to do. They kept them out of rhythm. And they really played tough. A.J. Brown, again, looked amazing. What do you make on the Eagles side? What's your takeaway after this win?
They got a fully put together team. Offense, defense, special teams. They have no holes. You said it in your last segment. A.J. Brown deserves to be in the MVP conversation. It breaks my heart every time. These last 5 weeks, watching him go over 125 yards, looking at what the Titans are doing, and then as soon as A.J. left, literally our offense from an aerial attack went down the drain in a lot of ways. And that's the kind of player A.J. Brown is. He's got that stereotypical wide receiver, give me the ball. You can see it. When they were playing the Jets last week, there was a couple of throws that weren't where they were supposed to be. AJ gets mad. He's yelling. And some people can take that as, oh, he's a selfish guy. AJ wants to win so bad. And he believes if you give him the ball, you're going to win. And that's the absolute attitude you need to have. As far as Miami, I love Tyreek Hill. I love those boys. And I know this is not going to be received very well, but I do think we're on a fraud alert type of situation. They lose to the Bills. They lose to the Eagles, 2 top teams, not really the Bills. The Bills, we have to talk about them too, but 2 teams that are perceived as one of the best teams in the league. And the teams they're destroying and beating and putting these numbers up on are teams that, like the Broncos. They're 70-20 type games. And it's oh, they're them. And I fell for it too. I bet them the next week when I think they played the Bills. And I was like, no, well, got bonked on that one. And then Philly, same thing. I bet on the Miami again, and they just didn't do it for me. So I don't think Miami's in the conversation the way the Ravens should be now, the way the Chiefs are. I just think they got to prove a little bit more right now. They have a hell of an offense, but the defense has got to show up too.
Do you put the Dolphins above the Bills in that sort of power ranking in the AFC? Chiefs, Ravens, Bills?
It's hard to say. It's hard to say because the Bills beat Miami. Or no, sorry. Yeah, no, Bills beat Miami, but the Bills have dropped 2 out of 3. And it's like, is there a level of cause for concern? We're talking about relationships. We're talking about Spooktober. Does Josh Allen have bad months in Spooktober? It's hard to see if I'm objectively speaking about the Bills, there's a level of concern there. There's a level of, dude, you just lost to the Patriots. Everyone's saying the Patriots are dead. They're not going anywhere. Mac Jones, bust. The only reason why he made a Pro Bowl is because he was an alternate. And then no quarterback wants to even go to the Pro Bowl. So that was a scary loss, especially with the team that they have.
What is the issue when you're looking at the Bills? I feel like they went over to London, they came back, and the offense hasn't quite looked the part. And then, of course, the defense allowing Mac Jones to look like what he did, which is looked like a Pro Bowl quarterback yesterday. What is the biggest issue or the biggest thing that you're like, I can't call them the Super Bowl contender because?
It seems like chemistry on offense to me. I mean, I know Stephon had a touchdown this past game, but the connection between those two need to be more often and all of the time. Just go after him over and over again. Stephon's got that attitude too, where it's like, give him the ball. If you give him the ball, you're gonna score points, those types of things. And then staying more consistent in the run game. When you run the ball consistently, it makes those safeties jump up a little farther, gives you that chance to do those X plays, those 20 plus yard plays where you're like, okay, this is the Bills we're used to seeing. A lot of people are starting to figure out when you make Josh Allen roll out to certain ways, usually the play statistically changes up a little bit. When he rolls out to his left, it's like it's going to be, an intermediate pass, but once it gets out to his right, that's when, bombs over Baghdad, things are, going all over the place and he's just throwing it all over the yard. So when you have those types of things that people can pick up on cues, it makes it easier to defend. Josh is a stud. Like, don't get me wrong. I love Josh. I think he's amazing. I think they're going to be fine. But the concern here is it's a little higher as we start to get towards the mid part of the season.
And looking at their schedule, they got Bengals, at Eagles, at Chiefs, at Chargers, at Dolphins, and Cowboys. And if we look at FanDuel Sportsbook, I came after them. They don't have A.J. Brown in their MVP voting, which I think is weak, and they should fix that, and I think that they might. The NFL Super Bowl betting odds, if we take a peek here, are as follows. And you've got your Chiefs and your Niners. Now you have your Eagles, who you said prove that they can be talked about, even though Jalen Hurts hasn't even looked, all the way himself. Then you get sort of the questions, right? With Miami's, you said they're fake. Then you got the Cowboys. That's your squad. Is there a team on here that you have more faith in than most people do?
I think after last week, we need to talk about the Ravens a little bit more. I mean, there's Lamar Jackson is so uniquely talented, but he hasn't shown it in the air the way that, when he gets in those tough games where you got to come back or you got to, kind of air it out a little bit. He hasn't necessarily shown that consistently. His numbers are like a lot of times in the teens as far as attempts, as opposed to these other quarterbacks when you're looking at, 30 attempts, 25 attempts, you're in the mid to late 20s and those things. So I think the Ravens, what they did to the Lions is very, very impressive. They've been consistent. They've been steadily getting better. I think the Ravens are a team you look at and you're like, man, if they keep going at the trajectory they're at right now, they have a lot to be excited about down there in Baltimore.
What stuck out to you from yesterday's games when you were watching? Just what was sort of the vibe? Because we're not quite at the halfway mark, but we kind of are. I don't want to keep asking you about elite teams and who's going to win the Super Bowl. It's like a redundant thing. What do you got? What was the thing that sort of stuck out to you?
It seems like when you hit the mid-season point, teams start to look at the media a little bit more. They start to feel themselves. Are we good? Are we bad? And if you're bad, you try to right those wrongs. And if you're good, you're like, oh, you like it, dude. You eat it up a little bit. I think we saw that from the Lions yesterday. I think, last week you look at all the mainstream media as people are putting NFC 1 through 5s, ranking everybody. And now all of a sudden the Lions are 1 or 2 in that ranking. And so I think it was it's not a cause for concern about the Lions, but it definitely was probably a humbling experience for them because I guarantee going into this week No one saw that coming, but they were like, we're gonna dummy these guys. We're gonna do, being underdogs by 3 points. There's no way we're gonna beat them and all that. And so you start to drink the Kool-Aid a little bit. You start to realize, hey, we're not the Detroit Lions of the past.
Mm-hmm.
We're a real team. And then you go in, you lay an egg like they did against the Ravens. It's kind of like, that's where you get back to the drawing board. That's where their head coach, who's, I think any guy that's played in the NFL, that's a coach you want to play for. He's the dude. He is the absolute dude that you want to be around. So they're going to be fine, but you gotta, at week 7, 8, 9 is usually when you see these teams, they drop one, or they don't play like themselves. They squeak out a win. They should have won by double digits. So this is where that kind of mid-season lull happens, and then it's up to the coaching staff and the leaderships in the locker room to really get those guys back on the trajectory they need to be at.
A coach we usually talk about, I feel like a little bit more than we have, is Coach Tomlin. And these Steelers, and just like, it's like obviously like an epic franchise, a lot of expectations. And I think they play in the AFC North, which is the most competitive division in the NFL right now. And this game that they had against the Rams, you and I like to talk about controversy, so let's get there, because the Steelers converted a 4th and 1 just before the 2-minute warning. But
allegedly,
what'd you make of this?
It's hard, dude. Someone needs to call and tell me the rules, because if the Rams don't have any timeouts, they can't challenge it. Was it less than 2 minutes, or was it no? It was just
right
before the 2-minute
right before
warning,
the
correct?
2-minute warning. Yep.
So in that situation, I feel like New York should take a look at that thing and be like, hey, we got to take a closer look and see how this is going. But the fact that they say he's got it and they just keep on moving forward is wild to me. I'm happy. I love Mike Tomlin, and it is a storied franchise, and he is a hell of a head coach. To see what he's been able to do with talent and also without so much talent, he's a great head coach. But damn, like that game with that much on the line, 1-score game, you think like there would be more of a look at it, because if we're going to throw flags over everything and just when you Miami Philly yesterday, there's a roughing the passer, when it's like, it's obviously not a roughing the passer and multiple penalties, but like this situation right here in LA, we're not gonna take a closer look at that. But that's probably my ignorance of not knowing the rules. There's probably some ridiculous rule that's in fine print in New York that's like, we don't check it when it's at between 203 and 205 and blah, 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 no timeouts for the team that needs the help. I have no idea, but I think it's just like, it's wild that was kind of just looked past and like, all right, good, run it out.
Hamilton just texted me, changes, just let New York overrule whatever they want.
What's that?
Never mind. He was just. I don't know what the rule is. I mean, if you don't know the rule, I certainly don't know the rule. I don't know anything about it other than that's a bit wild what went on. But he's like Mr. Fourth Quarter, comeback guy in Stafford. But they would have had to go like 60 yards with no timeout. So that I think the Rams got a little screwed there. Okay, I want to talk to you about the Giants, because what's going on? Like Daniel Jones, love him, comes on my show every week. But then you had like, the screams for Tyrod Taylor with this 14-7 win. And it took, 2 scores for all of Giants fans to say this should be our quarterback going forward? Who should be the Giants quarterback?
I don't know. It seems like...
You don't know? No!
Well, hold on. Let me... This is a process. This is my process, okay? I say I don't know, and then I figure out my way into an answer.
All right.
Daniel Jones gets paid. His money weighs his pockets down. All of a sudden, he's a little slower. His release is a little bit slower. He's not playing as well as we'd like him to be. Saquon Barkley is working through an ankle injury, and then all of a sudden comes back. In the past 2 weeks, he's figured out how to play football again, and that's special. But Tyrod Taylor, dude, he's a guy that, he had a ridiculous, check into a run play, last week, which is tough to see. But that guy is a dude that, like, he can run. He can throw it. He's mobile. You can kind of if you're a super mobile quarterback, you can kind of get away with a lot more and kind of do some backyard stuff. You see what Patrick Mahomes, you see what Lamar Jackson's, you see Josh Allen doing it. As far as who the quarterback should be from a financial standpoint, needs to be Daniel Jones. If you're going to pay him that amount of money, you got to put him out there and you got to let him, live and die by the sword of victory and defeat. But dude, I like Tyrod Taylor. I think he's a stud. When he was at the Bills, he dummied us when I was with the Titans. And so, If I'm going in and being like, what's our best opportunity to win? It might be Tyrod. I don't know, but you get a victory. They don't ask how, they ask how many.
We just went through the entire Taylor Lewan thought process, and I love it. What kind of candy are you giving out for Halloween over there at the Lewan?
Dude,
residence?
I get wild in the Halloween candy. I like to go with the king size stuff. I'm the house that you seek out, that you plan out. You're gonna do the king size Reese's, the king size Baby Ruths, all that stuff. So yeah, we get
like
wild.
4 Reese's peanut butter cups, full size ones in those king size.
Yeah.
Wow.
There's a whole budget for candy.
Oh, I'm coming over there for trick-or-treating. That would be amazing. Let's talk about tonight's game, please. 49ers, Vikings. Brock Purdy wants to bounce back. He didn't have the best performance last week. Like, we're seeing those odds. They're favorites. The Niners, by the way, 6.5. Our favorites are over at FanDuel Sportsbook. Yeah. Do you think the Vikings can keep this close or pull up an upset?
I think 6.5 is a good number. Right. I think the 49ers win this game. They win it by 7 or more. I think Deebo Samuel being out and Trent Williams being out might be an even bigger deal than Deebo Samuel.
But guys are hurt.
Yeah, I know you got Christian McCaffrey playing, and I think they're going to realize what they did wrong when you rewatch the film from that Browns game. We talked about it last week. You've got to feed George Kittle the ball when those guys are out. For 1 reception for 1 yard, that's not his fault. You got to get it in his hands early and often. And yesterday being National Tight End Day, I would almost guarantee a George Kittle touchdown tonight. Almost guarantee. Obviously, it's going to be on FanDuel. If you guys want to bet that one's free. It's for you.
Okay, we love to see it. Why don't they have like a National Left Tackle Day?
I don't know. That's a good question. I think George has done a great job of marketing the tight ends, because when I first got in the league, it was like tight ends, you're this hybrid position, and it's great. You guys keep doing your thing. We got Gronkowski, and that's about it. And then now George has done a great job with tight end U and making it just seems like it's a cool club to be a part of, is being part of the tight end club. And that dude deserves a lot of respect for essentially making all of us in the NFL world believe in a holiday now. He really did that. That was really him. And so we need a George Kittle. We need a George Kittle in the left tackle world.
Up and Adams needs a George Kittle. We need him to come market our show. Look,
No
Marissa
doubt.
and I would hire him about 3 seconds. Send your CV over, George Kittle. You've got Bussin' with the Boys. I want to ask you, just because I know that you played with Foreman. So Deontay Foreman has his crazy day yesterday. Did you see this? Mm-hmm. Did you see these touchdowns? He has these amazing touchdowns. He has 3. Okay, and one of his third. This is sort of odd.
That is odd.
It's Indian slap boxing. What do I need to know about this? Make me cool.
I think we need to both Wikipedia this situation. Yeah. I have no idea what Indian slap boxing is, if we're even allowed to say that now. Okay, I've seen this before.
You have?
These guys getting after.
Where have you seen this before?
You see the reels on Instagram. I have damn near everything on my reels.
Not in my algorithm.
What's the point differential here? Are we going chests only, bellies? I like to jump. Guys got bunnies on the left side. Deontay Foreman, dude, I can't believe he hasn't been in more of a consistent place. When Derrick Henry got hurt a few years ago, and
don't try to talk football when that's on the like. You're right. What are the rules in slap box? They're just normal. Like, why is he getting so much airtime? Like he's.
I don't know. I'm gonna look it up. I need you to quiz me next week, because it is one of those things where it's like it seems like an interesting sport we might need to get into. That might become the national sport of America.
Slap boxers for Halloween next week.
That sounds like a win. That sounds like what we need to do. Absolutely.
Like a win. You're the best. Bussin' with the Boys. We appreciate you for answering all of the world's NFL and slap boxing questions. Taylor, you're the best. He's going to be handing out some king size versus peanut butter cups. We're going to hand out some attaboys on the other side of this commercial break. Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest Up and Adams content right on YouTube.